This wasn't quite what we expected, but I will master this power. I will use it to create a new world order.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
And today we're now covering the Season 4 special, and I think the last one, The Emperor's Wrath.
And if you have not watched the coverage for Season 4, go ahead and get to that. It should be coming up right now.
Yes.
But much like last season, this special serves as the grand season finale to the story, and the stakes are higher than ever with Azure Lion succeeding in becoming the new Emperor, or All Might Emperor.
Yeah.
But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification bells on future podcasts and want to pause videos.
And thank you so much for joining us, sharing our videos, commenting, and participating in our Superhero Month specials. We appreciate you so much.
Yes. So, going right where we left off for the end of Season 4, Azure Lion becomes the main antagonist of the special, and much like last season, they spend the entire time building up the strength and the cast together to find a way to defeat him. And what's a little different about this is that we had mentioned in the Season 4 podcast that everyone's fighting style had to be drastically changed and had to fight in a more Eastern style and abandon, in the terms of Rise of the Guardians, their center part of their characters when they were fighting to adapt to something else to defeat the villain. And the second thing would be that the two that were accompanying Azure actually didn't know that's how far the guy was going to go to get the power, because now it was starting to backfire.
And the third thing is, instead of airing as a 1-hour special, it aired in 4 separate segments.
Yeah, which is different. And you could sometimes tell before it was maybe broken up, but it flowed so well that you really couldn't tell. Here, it really was broken up.
And that's because they had 3 different writers. Or I should say, 3 different writers. They had David Breen, who wrote the first 2 parts, Sarah Harper, who wrote the 3rd part, and then Akira Fujita and Sarah Harper wrote the 4th part.
Right.
So you didn't even have the same writer the entire time, making it a fluid airing or transition. And that's why when you're watching it, it does seem like you're watching 4 different stories, even though that are connected by events.
Right. And as we mentioned in our other podcast, well, if you've seen it, this is the final season and the final special that was created and animated by Flying Bark Productions. They switched to Wild Brain now with Season 5. We did take a look at the first episode of Season 5, and there's a lot to unpack with it, but you can tell there is a vast difference between 2 seasons.
Definitely.
But I will say for in here, they did go all out with the animation and the action and the colors and visuals and everything as their last episode with the show.
Absolutely. And they did a fantastic job with it. We enjoyed it.
Yes.
And the action was good. As we did mention, it was just handled in a different way than it had been handled in previous seasons, with the focus more on Eastern style of fighting rather than westernizing a superhero theme. So this may be the last time we see any connection to the Western superhero. We don't know because we haven't seen Season 5 yet, but we'll get to that soon.
Right. And alongside this, it pretty much stays straightforward of the idea of defeating the bad guy of the special. You say bad guy of the week, well, bad guy of the season, pretty much.
It's All Might.
Right. And before it was this sort of ink demon. No, it's not bendy. It's just something else entirely that to me reminded me of Venom, where it kind of fed off the person's emotions and guilt and fear, and they kind of turn into something else in here. Again, taking from that Western influence and applying it to this Chinese character. And here, there is not a mix of that this time. They still have the group coming together as a team to defeat the villain. But as far as that aspect that we've come to see in the other seasons, it's pretty much gone with this. It's just about getting the job done, being the bad guy, and having a way to beat him that doesn't end with the destruction of the universe. Because by the end, there's literally cracks in the fabric of time, and they gotta fix that now. So it's like, okay, I guess we're done playing.
And then you also find out that an unknown enemy led Azure Lion out of the scroll of memory, to set off the events of the Jade Emperor's demise.
Right. And that sets up now season 5 for whoever the antagonist is of that. We have no idea who it is because we've kept away from spoilers and we have not watched season 5, just only the part of the first episode to see the animation. So we will be more informed when we finally get to it.
Now this time, instead of there being such big gaps between the episodes airing in China, the West, and Singapore, each part of the special aired June 1st in China, and then were released June 19th in the West. And then after that, Singapore had to wait until November 13th.
Oh, wow.
All in 2023 to get these episodes.
Wow. That's a big gap for Singapore. Dang. So, with this, you can also tell the characters have changed.
Yes.
Some in a good way, some in a not so good way. Like, the two that were accompanying Azure realized that, even though he achieved his goal, he was going mad with power. He was doing things they never discussed about doing. Because he claims in the 4th season that he wanted to have rulership over, I guess, the world, I'll say, and have it be a more fair place. And when he saw he was kind of just having to lash out at people who didn't agree or didn't follow his way, they were saying that this is not what we intended to do. We really did want to bring peace, but he's just trying to destroy anything in his path and just getting more and more power. So they all end up having to work together to take him down. And now with the end of this and going to season 5, now it's gonna almost mainly stay on the Journey to the West stories, because they start bringing in the underworld, more characters from the Monkey King stories, more of the Chinese mythology strictly in China. They actually don't even return back to the city for a long time. They kind of stay in this area this rest of the special and for season 5. So I think they really want to make it clear that this is now starting to follow more of its origins rather than a mixture.
And this is what happens in a lot of the movies, the C movies, as well as the animated movies and series that we've watched.
Yeah.
So much takes place in the heavenly realm,
yeah,
what they call it. And as you mentioned, they went to that realm and they stayed there and didn't go back. It was, we were expecting them to return back to Earth.
Right.
But no.
Now,
you're right.
Yeah, exactly. The way it's ended is so much fractured, now they can't go home, which is a huge change.
And it's a standard use of location, again, in the series that air in China.
Right.
They pretty much like having a lot of things take place in the heavenly realm.
Right.
And then the people on Earth aren't really...
They're not
important,
very, right,
in the story. They're kind of
friendly.
like, they worship, they know they exist, and they do what they're supposed to do. Like,
and they can talk to them if they visit. Things. Yeah, they're just kind of commonplace. And
so the commoners are just
the commoners,
the extras.
Yes. And one more thing to mention is that if you've seen our review of Kung Fu Panda 4, we express a similar thing where the 4th movie strayed away from being a fun mixture of Eastern and Western, turning martial arts characters into like their versions of being a superhero. And that stepped away from that with the 4th movie and had a really big focus on not only just Chinese culture, but trying to be a more Chinese movie. And this season now, going to season 5 in the special, now really wants to pertain to being a more Chinese style animated story. Now, there are a few C animes or C animated stories that we do like White Cat Legend and Heaven's Official Blessing and some others. It's just not one of our big ones for us to go to.
And the movie Hero Hey.
Right. And it's just not a big one for us to go to all the time to look for things, because there tends to be a sort of formula they have for majority of their shows.
But the main reason, honestly, is because they generally, probably like in 95% of the cases, they don't do an English dub.
That too, yes. So with here, we're still grateful that they do have English, and they kept all the voice actors for only the special, but also season 5. So we still end up enjoying it. But you could tell the whole vibe was different with this special. It still had great action, still great animation, still great voice acting, still loved the music. Characters were still mostly the characters, but it took such a serious tone that it was a little different in the enjoyment. Still enjoyed it, but it wasn't that, oh my gosh, it was a blast like the last 3 specials.
True.
It was more of like things have gotten serious, it's taken a turn, and now we're preparing you for crap to go down some more in season 5.
Right, and we definitely didn't expect it to end the way that it ended. Now, one other thing I want to mention is, in the West, the only place you could see this was on Happy Kids app.
And we do have it, but we never knew what it was for. Now we know. So, like, okay, so you can't watch it anywhere else.
And you don't know why they chose to make that decision. You still don't know why they chose to pull away from Amazon Prime. And they're definitely keeping closed-lipped.
Yeah.
But if any of you happens to know the truth, not speculation and rumor, let us know in the comments. Because we'd be interested to know why Amazon Prime no longer has any of the seasons and why it ended up on Happy app before taking a rest at the Peacock.
Yes, because there's been lots of talk about this season and the show itself. And a lot of people that have ended up leaving the fandom. We don't know if a lot of people came back or new fans took their place. Well, we will address more of that when we get to our season 5 podcast.
And for season 5, we've noticed that it's airing first in China as usual. And then maybe less than a month later in the West it aired. But there's no Singapore release.
Yeah.
For season 5.
And I do know some people are watching the Chinese dubbing because they don't want to wait a month to get the episodes in English. So some of them have already watched it much ahead of everyone else.
So we'll get to see what happens and share that with you. But if you've seen the special, because it's no longer a movie, The Emperor's Wrath 4-part special, let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy it? How do you think it compared to the last 3 specials? As we told you, we think that it was so different and you didn't have that high action velocity that you enjoyed, that we know it's a different franchise now. But tell us what you think. If you haven't seen it, it's available exclusively on Peacock. Come back after watching it and tell us what you think.
And if you have no more subscribe for updates, weekly videos for anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, subscribing, sharing our videos, commenting, everything you do for us. As always,
you are special. Thank you so much for watching. Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.